we've got Cameron Smith with us for the next half hour, and it is very, very exciting. You'll be head and heart, no doubt, talking about your mighty Storm on Friday night. Is that the game you're calling?
Yes, yeah, working on Friday night down in Melbourne. Storm v Roosters. Big game, boys. Huge game.
Yeah,
they got a bit of rivalry too, these two clubs, going back to the sort of 2018 grand final, and then 2019 they played in a prelim against each other. On that occasion, the Roosters got the victory up in Sydney. So, and even thinking back to last year, they played against each other week 2 of finals. Remember, the Roosters were up, and then the last minute, it took a Cam Munster kick to Will Warbrick, and Will Warbrick to get up above and take that miraculous take and score a try for the Storm to get the victory. So, you know, I think the Roosters, I don't think they go down there with any sort of concerns or feeling worried about having to go down there and try and get a victory. I think they'll be pretty confident, particularly off the way they played on the weekend. That was a great game.
Hey, we got one from Muzz here. We'll get rid of this. I was going to mention the new contract for Reece Walsh. It seems to me to be a decent price for both Broncos and him. I mean, $1 million man, but we all expected that. But one from Muzz here. So with the timing being everything, re-rep honours, Dylan and Carlin seem to be 1 and 2 in the pecking order for fullback. Obviously, Tedesco's still lurking. So barring injury, can you see Reece playing for Australia?
No, I don't think so. I really don't think so. No, I don't think his form this year, as well as missing a fair bit of footy towards the back end of the year, I don't think he'll be there, to be honest. I reckon it'll be Dylan Edwards' first choice, and I reckon it'll be, if he's not right. Okay, so he's carrying that bit of that knee niggle at the moment. So there's a little bit of uncertainty around several players that are eligible for Australia as far as their fitness and whether they'll be available for the tour at the end of the year. But if he's unavailable, I reckon Mel will go with Tedesco.
Okay,
right. He's in that good a form. Now I know Kalen finished the year quite well, particularly his last 2 matches. He almost won that game for the Knights against the Cowboys, all on his own. But I reckon Tedesco's in that good a form that he would be regarded as the next best after Edwards. I think they have to go with Edwards, given he surpassed Tedesco as the New South Wales fullback. Now, I know he was ruled out late for game 1. New South Wales lost that match, but then he was recalled because he was fit and ready to go for games 2 and 3, and New South Wales went on to win the series. So I think Mal will go with Dylan Edwards if he's fit. If he's not fit, then I think Tedesco will retain that number 1 jersey.
Okay.
And if you put him back in, Tedesco, do you make him captain?
Well, hey, Heels, that is a difficult one, isn't it? Because I do feel, I'll go back to what I said. I do feel Dylan Edwards is Mal's first choice. Okay, yep. So that means Tedesco won't be there. That means they need a new captain. So
stick with him.
It's a very difficult one for Mal. I think if Tedesco's there, then he's got a very hard decision. Does he then retain his captaincy like he's had for the past few tours, or does he go with someone new, thinking, well, this is more than likely going to be Tedesco's last opportunity to play for Australia?
Yeah. All right, let's get through to these quarterfinals. I'll go with the second one first, only because I know you'll want to spend time with the Storm and Roosters, and that looks to be the highlight one. I mean, this one seems to be more cut and dry. One interesting point out of this, and it's been spoken about a lot, that Cleary and Hynes are good mates, and Cleary has spent a bit of time with Hynes and given him a bit of advice, knowing that he's had some confidence problems and issues this year. Would you do that to a rival hooker?
Oh, well, it depends on the friendship, right? So, I go back to my time playing. I played against a lot of my really close mates as well. So someone like Jonathan Thurston. Now, I know we played in different positions, but, I remember speaking with him in the middle of, seasons and talking about each other's form or team form or whatnot. And, at times sort of giving each other, some encouragement to do things better and whatnot. But, that all goes out the window, boys. Yes. That goes out. By the time Saturday rolls around, Cleary and Hynes, they're not mates. They are up against each other as rivals in each respective side, and also each team's number 7 and general, the guy that's trying to steer their team around the park. So there's no friendship when it comes to this match. It's all about who can progress through to the grand final, and then once the 80 minutes is over and they shake hands, well, they can be mates again.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
Well, one thing the Cowboys missed against the Sharks was they made too many errors while the Sharks were fresh.
Yeah.
Right? The Sharks can tire, and I'll bet they need to be careful against Penrith this week.
Oh, they do, mate. And that's probably one of their better performances over the last sort of 6 or 8 weeks, the Sharkies, and it needed to be to progress through. Everyone knew they needed to be much better than what they were against Melbourne the week before.
Yes.
And they delivered that. But for not for 80 minutes, though. So they got away to a good start, okay? They got a 50-50 call to start with where they were awarded a penalty try. I still don't believe it should have been a penalty try.
And I thought a penalty try you get a second kick. What's that called?
Well, that's an
days?
8-point try.
Yeah, it's called an 8-point try.
Yeah,
right?
there's a difference, yeah. So 8-point try is where the try is awarded. The goal kicker takes a attempted conversion from where the try is scored, and then he gets another opportunity from in front of the post. So he gets 2 shots at goal.
Yeah.
So basically, if he's been cheap shotted after he scored.
After he scored, mate. That's right. Yeah.
Right.
So that one on the weekend, I thought there was still a fair bit of doubt whether Trindle would
So
have
do
got there.
I reckon.
But
Yeah.
anyway, the Sharkies went on to win, but the thing is, right, in the second half, they gave the Cowboys a bit of a sniff, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I seen their middle forwards when the Cowboys were able to string together, consecutive sets of 6, and the game, the time with the ball in play started to grow. The middle forwards of the Sharkies started to tire a little bit, and that's when Robson started to make a few chinks in their armour. Scotty Drinkwater made some breaks up the middle. Taumalolo started to poke his nose through. They just can't afford to do that against Penrith. If they give them the slightest sniff, a little bit of an opportunity, well, guys like Yeo, Edwards, Cleary, Luai, they don't need much of an invitation, and they'll take it with both hands. So I think that they're clear favourites. They're not, they're playing out at a core, which is not their actual home ground, but I think that ground doesn't matter. They've had a lot of success there, and they'll just go there and play their usual typical self. The Sharks are going to have to come up with something really out of the box. They're going to have to try and play something a little bit different, other than let's get in the grind with Penrith. Don't do that. Yeah. That's exactly what they want you to do.
Yep. Hey, well, we know they're chasing, a 4th title history and all that sort of thing, and they've got a premiership record of 11 straight finals wins, which is just phenomenal. Yeah. But one thing I wanted to bring up, and I know it's been discussed before, but I just read the list again. So this is 2021, 22, 23 losses of players. Burton, Momorowski, Capewell, May, Kickow, Coruscant, Staines, Crichton, Leniu, Salmon, Cogger. I mean, what
incredible.
Cleary has done out there is just simply phenomenal, isn't it? And that's, before we even played this prelim final.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And, I think we had a discussion last week on the captain's run about, who should be getting or who should be awarded the Coach of the Year. And, Craig Bellamy, his side's taken out the minor premiership, so that's always a pretty impressive thing to do. Cameron Ciraldo, what he's done with the Bulldogs, taking them from, 15th or something, improved their record over the last couple of years and now playing finals. But if Penrith Panthers qualify for the grand final this week, surely Ivan Cleary gets it. As much as I'd love to see my old coach Craig Bellamy pick up the award, you can't look past the effort of Ivan Cleary. 5 consecutive grand finals. It's just it's incredible. They're don't even put the premierships aside. To play 5 in a row in the modern game with salary caps and all this sorts of stuff, it's incredible. The last team to do it was the Bunnies in the late 60s, early 70s. That's how far back we got to go, boys. And they weren't operating in salary caps then.
No.
Yeah.
That was all about who could pay the most. So
that's it there.
Whoever had the most money, they got all the best players. So it's incredibly impressive what Ivan Cleary's been able to do out at that footy club, along with all of his staff and his players, of course. But as head coach, you got to tip the cap to him.
Yeah, well, and they're about to lose Luai, Fisher-Harris and Taruva, and the more you read about it, they're so determined to do it for them, to send them out as winners as well. So there's a fair bit there. Look, I am looking forward to the clash of the halves, Hynes and Trindle v Luai and Cleary. But, I mean, Trindle's one of the great stories, isn't it, with what he's been through. I mean, there was a chance he was going to be booted out of the club after his drug driving charge. He got banned for 5 matches. He hung on to his job, and now he's playing as good a football as he's played.
Yeah, so impressive the other night, and really he took the reins of that footy side, didn't he?
Yes.
You know, with how the form of Nicho Hynes at the moment, like he's not playing anywhere near his best football right now, and he looks like a guy that's lacking confidence, Nicho Hynes. You know, I called that game the other night, watched him live. He had a few touches early, which it looked like he was just trying to play himself into a bit of form, trying to gain a little bit of confidence with taking the line on a few times. Probably wasn't the right option, but he just did it anyway to get himself into the game. But as far as running the side and who took control over the kicking plan and where the team was positioned on the field, it was all Trindle. You know, he scored 2 tries, set up another one, had a couple of set restarts as well. So he was the general, he was the chief playmaker. And like you said earlier in the year, this is a guy that made a huge mistake, a huge judgment error of judgment, and was punished for it. Sat out several games, but the way he's come back and performed, I think he's really repaying the faith that the club as a whole and his coach and his teammates have shown in him.
Yeah, good call. You know, Nicho Hynes traditionally, is he fast?
Well, not like your typical.
Righto.
Like,
because he doesn't look it now, does he?
No.
He's very tentative. He's very thoughtful.
Well, you know what, Heels? When you tend to, when you're not overly confident, everything does seem to slow down a little bit.
Yep.
With the way the speed in which you do things and the way like how fast you run, and because you're constantly second guessing yourself. Now, that's I'm just commenting from what I'm seeing and having experienced a career in first grade and being around players and myself at times thinking, sort of questioning myself and what I'm doing on the footy field. That's what it looks like. I can't. I'm not in his. No one else is in Nicho's head other than himself. So no one can say how he's feeling or what he's doing at the moment. But that's just what it looks like at the moment. It's a guy that sort of at most times when he's getting the football or he's around the football, he's sort of half second guessing about what he should be doing or where he needs to be on the field.
He'll probably be better off for that run, though. He tried in defence. They got the monkey off their back about the finals victory,
definitely.
And now he might be different. So good luck to him.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to be. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you're tipping Panthers?
I'm tipping Panthers. Yep.
Right, take a break. We'll be back to talk about this a big one. And I can't wait for this Friday night at Amy. It'll be sold out. It'll be loud. Storm v Roosters, 1v3. As Cam mentioned, the Roosters probably go down there without a whole heap of fear in their hearts. And Damien, I'll only bring this up because he brings it up every week. 50 Shades of 2018 this Friday night, boys. You know exactly what he's talking about.
Yes.
Can't wait for this one. Unfortunately, it's the first one. It's the Friday night. It's the pipe opener to the AFL Grand Final, which all Queenslanders are waiting with Storm v Roosters. And as you said, Cam, the Roosters, even though they've got a couple of big names out and a halfback and a hooker, they go down there with a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, I think off the back of the way they played on the weekend, particularly their halfback, Sandon Smith, I thought that was his coming-of-age game type of thing where, he's only played the sort of handful of first-grade matches, scored his first try in the NRL. What a great time to do that against Manly with a lovely little run down that right-hand side. He beat a couple of defenders and scored. But I think just they started that game with an energy and an intent that, it's needed this time of year. And if they can replicate that down there in Melbourne this week, well, they give themselves a really, really good chance. Given we spoke about just before, they don't take any fear. I don't think they'll take any fear at all to go down to Melbourne and get a victory. There's very few people that have any expectation on them to win this game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that being in that position, I think that takes a whole heap of pressure off your shoulders to go down there and play well and win. All the pressure this week, it's on two teams to go through. Yes. It's on Melbourne and it's on Penrith, right? So, if Roosters can start well, and even if they can jag some early points, right, whether it be through a penalty goal or an early try, well, that then puts a whole heap of pressure on Melbourne to respond, to try and get himself back in the game.
Is there a way to disrupt Melbourne? It used to be aggression. You bring the aggression. The Roosters will do that. Storm will be ready for it.
Yep.
Is there another way? What else you got to do throughout the match to sort of stop their continuity?
Well, first and foremost, what Melbourne want, they want a pretty fast-paced game. Okay, so they want to play the ball quickly, and they want Harry Grant jumping out and getting his forwards over the line. We know how dangerous he is when he's got quick play the balls and unset markers. He'll take off, have a bit of a dart. He loves running the football. And then from there, that's when you get Munster, you get Hughes and Pappenhausen. They all get on the ball and they all get excited. And when they get the ball in their hands and they're working together, they're a very, very dangerous footy side. Jahrome Hughes has been the best player in the game all year, right? He like for mine, I think he wins the Dally M. And, he's in that type of form at the moment. We've seen over the last couple of games that he's played. You give him time and space, he'll tear you to shreds. So a couple of things for me. They need to win the ground, okay? So win the ruck, dominate the play of the balls, minimise, the play of the ball speed for Melbourne Storm, which then takes care of, you get a good look at Harry Grant, you get a good look at Munster and Hughes and Pappenhausen and what's coming up. And for goodness sakes, make sure you take care of Jahrome Hughes' right foot. Yeah. I've seen it. I watch it. I just have a giggle to myself. I watch every Melbourne Storm game, and every game that he plays, at some stage he pulls out his right foot and he beats multiple defenders. Like that should be the number one thing on a tip sheet, right? Every team has tip sheets these days. I can only imagine if Craig Bellamy, right? If I was sitting in a meeting room with Craig previewing a match and we were facing Jahrome Hughes, all that would be written next to Jahrome Hughes is right foot, right foot, right foot.
Yeah.
Do not let him come off his right foot. So, it's easier said than done, right? Those things that I've said.
That means don't go to sleep inside the right foot.
That's right. Yeah, and don't ever feel as though that you're trying to, don't concern yourself with the outside until he's gone past you. He's always going to try and take you on the inside.
And don't take a dummy from Munster.
That's right. Well, it's hard to defend that bloke, because even he doesn't know what he's doing.
and his fend goes way out in front of his body. You can't get under it.
Yeah.
Hey, does history play a role? I see the Storm have won 10 of their last 11 against the Roosters, and the Roosters have lost their last 3 at Amy. Does that count for anything when they walk across the white line?
Oh, not really. No. Because if you're sort of looking back over history and you go back that far, they're two completely different sides, right?
Yeah.
Compared to, what was it, 10 of the last 11? Like, if you go back 8, 9, 10, 11 matches ago, that's going back multiple seasons. This is a side that's completely different. If you're going back to when I finished in 2020 compared to the side now, I think there's probably half a dozen blokes that were in that side that I played in 2020. Everyone, it's all changed, boys. So, I don't think particularly any of these sides will be thinking about history and who's won how many and who's won where and all that sort of stuff. It's really all about who's gonna start the best, right? Because if you look over all the finals matches, pretty much every team that's got off to a good start has gone on to win. It's not rocket science. It's really about getting yourself in a good position early, and then making sure that you maintain that intent and that intensity that you started the game with through the 80. I'll tell you one thing that may give I won't say an advantage, it may help the Roosters. Have you noticed how the referees have put the whistle away in the final series?
Yes, especially early doors. The first stoppage is like 6 minutes.
Yeah, so, and a lot of people will say, well, that'll benefit the Storm because they like playing long periods of football. They like getting in the grind, but the Roosters are the most penalised and have the most set restarts against them, and I think like the third amount of sin binnings in the comp, right? So essentially they're saying they're the most undisciplined side in the comp. Well, I'll tell you what. The way the referees are officiating the games in the finals, well, that's changed. They put the whistle away. So that may just help the Roosters stay in the game for longer periods. Okay, so they're not giving away as many penalties. They're not giving away as many set restarts. So, like I said, if they can start well and get some early points,
okay,
they could really put Melbourne under pressure. But in saying that, they've got some big game players, Melbourne.
Yeah.
They've got some big game players, and they know how to get it right when the time's needed.
Got some up-and-coming forwards too, haven't they?
Yeah.
They're playing well.
Yeah, the two young back rowers have been outstanding, Katoa and Sean Bloor.
Yes.
And Trent Liero, I think he's had an unbelievable year. He's part of he was sort of on the fringes for the Queensland State of Origin side this year as well. So they've got a lot of talent, talent.
The other thing about these two prelims, I mean, we know Fitzy is the up-and-comer, but Storm, Roosters, Panthers, three of the coaches that will be remembered in this game as three of the greatest ever.
Yeah. Well, certainly of the modern era, hey, Paddy?
Yeah.
Particularly. And they're the three sides that have dominated this part of the year for the last, decade to 15 years. You know, Panthers are looking to go 5 consecutive grand finals. Storm have won a ridiculous amount of minor premierships over the last 10 years. They've played in pretty much nearly every prelim, bar a few, over the last 15 years. So they're always they always go deep into the season. Sharkies are, they're up and about over the last few years, but certainly, Robinson, Bellamy, and Cleary, they know how to get a lot of wins at this time of year.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, mate. I really appreciate your time.
No worries.
And it's you're obviously tipping Storm Panthers.
Yes, I'm Storm Panthers. Panthers. Yeah, I think Friday night's going to be a real close one. Sorry, Sharkies fans. I think I think your mob they'll have a crack early, but I think the Panthers may just sort of put a little bit of a gap in between.
8:31. Cameron Smith joining us there. Great to chat, mate.
See you, boys.
Bye.